Now, it is brought to you by Interplast. Wherever you are, we make sure water reaches you even in space. And First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different. Are you tired of using a hose or buckets to water your farm every time? Are you worried the rains won't come? Get the best out of your farm with InGreen irrigation systems now. Available are both drip and sprinkler irrigation systems tailored to match your needs. Call us now on 0302 819 000. InGreen, another quality solution from Interplast. And with Interplast, wherever you are, we make sure water reaches you, even space. Now, payments for SSNIT Tier 1 contributions are now more convenient at First Atlantic Bank. Kindly visit any of our branches and follow these 3 simple steps. Employer must first validate their contributions via the SSNIT portal or at any SSNIT branch. A payment advice with a 16-digit SSNIT validation code will then be issued to the employer. Then, this payment advice must be submitted to any First Atlantic Bank branch for payment of your SSNIT pension contributions. For any further information, please call us on 0302 682 204 or 0302 679 248 or call toll-free MTN 18228 Vodafone 0800 11 011. First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different. And the boys are in. Malik Abbas Dabo and Raymond Aqua. Good morning.
Good morning. Boys. Anyway, good morning, my good friend.
Good morning. You see, there will come a time where you want to be identified as a boy, where you would want to enjoy your youth.
I'm not one of those when they want to be president. They say, "Oh, I'm youth." When the youth are 50 something. I'm not one of those at all.
We haven't done this.
Talk about other things.
We haven't done this for 30 seconds.
Yeah, you know.
You haven't done this for 30 seconds this morning. Look at where you are sending us to. Malik, let's begin with you. Business Day Ghana.
Let's start with the Business Day Ghana. Sachet water producers employ over 2 million Ghanaians. That's the lead story on the front page of the Business Day newspaper. And it listed the photographs of 5 people. It says they have hijacked the banking sector. It describes them in a manner I won't say.
Tomorrow. Anyway, the BNFT is reporting this morning, and 400 million oil cash missing and 8 billion banking baggage more than capital expenditure. There's one more article. It's a major feature in the BNFT today. The banks did not fail. Greed and recklessness of bankers must not go unpunished. This is Ken Thompson speaking there, and he's CEO of Dealers Finance. But that's on the front page with others like more support for local goldsmiths, and that's on the front page of BNFT anyway.
The Daily Guide newspaper, Nana exposes Mahama at Menchia, UT Capital Bank blow 1.47 billion. Bank of Ghana bailout. Also on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper, 2 KNUST students drowned in Germany. Sad story. Here, those are the stories on the front page of the Daily Guide.
The Ghanaian Times is reporting this morning, we will make free SHS compulsory. Every child must attend. And also on the front page, work on Accra Kumasi dual carriageway to begin end of year. Ghana to end IMF program by end of 2018. This is also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times.
The Herald newspaper, ex-energy minister Miles sealed Kate Brother justifies Akufo-Addo's action. And Francis Esiam dragged before Martin Amidu, litany of corrupt acts raised. Road minister in trouble over East Legon Spintex Road tunnel cost.
Now, aftermath of 2015, Central Medical Stores fire no weighing carts for over 3 years. Threatens gains in reducing under 5 mortality and morbidity. And there's also another story should be interesting. Ghana Post GPS, this according to the paper, charging 50 and 100 cedi to tag properties. And this is to give you the address.
The Daily Statesman newspaper, how NDK robbed Royal Bank. That's their claim on the front page of the Daily Statesman newspaper. 260-kilometer Kumasi roads to be improved. And National Youth Authority steps up fight against tramadol abuse.
The Daily Heritage is reporting this morning, public servants to lose jobs for not acquiring the Ghana card. That's on the front page with another story. Nungwa MP prepares over 900 students for free SHS as an annual 1-month free pre-SHS classes begins.
The Ghanaian Observer newspaper, we are fulfilling our promises. Guess who is saying that? of course.
The President of the Republic of Ghana?
Absolutely. I don't know how many people will agree with him. Also on the front page,
let's go.
Also on the front page of the Ghanaian Observer newspaper, Free SHS has shamed NDC. The president is still talking, and Controller and Accountant General's Department workers raise red flags over acting controller's stay in office. There's another story on the front page of the Ghanaian Observer about Fenyo Markins. I don't know about this. That Joy FM has a plot against him. We're just putting out facts contained or statement contained in a report of the Bank of Ghana.
Exactly.
How that constitutes a plot.
Some of which he confirmed. He disputed certain figures on the side and all of that, but well. Now, the New Crusading Guide is reporting this morning. New BBC Africa Eye investigation announced nearly died, and human harvesting pictures. That's on the front page. And I am being blackmailed. That's a stool father at Pram Pram complaining there. But 2018 Hajj arrangement, superb so far. This is according to a Muslim research group.
Wow. The Daily Graphic newspaper front page banner headline: 4 policemen shot, attacked when responding to distress call. Also on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper, don't desert indigenous bank. That's banking consultant Nana Utue Champon, and government working to end IMF support. That's the president.
Now the Chronicle is reporting this morning. Nonsense. Stupid man. How a Kumsin attacks National Security Operative for enforcing. He thought it was you. No, I mean, you're my good friend.
I was beginning to think of a good way to respond.
for enforcing presidential orders, and that's on the front page of the Chronicle. There's a story you should be interested into. Pentecostal church runs away from tax payment. You pay.
We pay taxes.
Every squashy would deal with you.
Churches, first of all, it says Pentecostal church.
Doesn't like that.
You pay.
But churches pay taxes.
Oh, why? So what's the point? You pay. This is the point.
Churches already pay taxes when they do business. They pay income tax when they pay their workers. I mean, anyway, guys, that's it for the front pages, isn't it?
Yeah.
Raymond, where are you taking us first?
Okay, let me first bring you what's on the front page of the Business and Financial Times. Now, 400 million Ghana cedis is actually missing. Oil cash. This happened in 2017. The claim here is that there was supposed to have been disbursed 736 million. The amount utilized was 332 million. Now, the Public Interest and Accountability Committee is asking the question, please, we had red flagged this matter last year. We want response. So far, they are convinced the Ministry of Finance has not responded to their claim that where is the 400 million that you said you used the money for? And this is part of the annual budget funding amount. You know, our money is in this form. 70% is to support your budget. That's ABFA. The 30% is divided into two. It's for the statutory, what they call it?
The statutory funds?
Yes.
And then the Heritage Fund.
The Heritage Fund, the other, what they call it, stabilization fund in this particular case. So these two is for the future. The 70% we can spend. By the 70%, we've decided areas we want to spend this amount of money in. First was agriculture modernization, road and other infrastructure, and also we agreed that we were doing capacity building. Remember some years ago, so over 100 million was spent on capacity building. Ghanaians were worried about that amount of money. Yes, but in order to make sure that we mainstream that, we removed that as part of our new plan. So from 2017 to 2019, we reviewed the priority areas. We decided that agriculture still remains, road and rail infrastructure. This time, rail is part of it, and infrastructure and health. The last one was education, because education is important to us. But there's a shortfall in the spending in this case. And PIAC says all attempts to get the finance ministry to give them a response, give them details on how the money was spent, where the money went, and how we can get back the money if you have not spent it, is not getting the needed attention that's supposed to be. And they are worried that this is oil money. It's for the future. If you continuously refuse to account properly for it, we'll have difficulties. So this money, you can join me as the finance ministry. And where is the cash?
Sikano.
Yes, please. Show us.
Okay.
Who are you quoting?
Malik, let's move into the banking sector.
Yes, so let's stay with the banks. And throughout the last 2 weeks, we have been detailing details of what is contained in some leak report by the Bank of Ghana about how some of the collapsed banks treated liquidity support that was given to them by the central bank, which is the regulator in the banking sector. Now, two of the banks, UT Bank, Capital Bank, UT Bank was giving 860 million liquidity support by the central bank. Capital Bank was giving 610. Put together, this is 1.47 billion. That's the amount of money the central bank gave to these two banks to support them to stay on their feet. And we are told by the report that by 2015, Capital Bank was already on its knees. And we know this because we know that a former MD of the bank had issued a detailed memo in which he detailed the problems of the bank and predicted that the bank was likely to collapse if certain measures were not taken. And I remember about 2-3 years ago, we dealt with that report. Yeah. This is Kofi.
Yes, John Kofi Mensah.
Absolutely.
He's currently the ADB boss. ADB. He's currently the boss.
I know he lobbied for the job of the GCB as well.
But it didn't work.
But it didn't work. So he put out this memo and he detailed the problems of the bank. We are told that by 2015 the bank was already on its knees. It was after because of that the central bank gave all of this support. Now, when the support was given, 27 million in the case of central bank, 27 million was given to a member of the board for business promotion. And on Thursday on this show, we read portions of the report that says that 19 of that 27 million was spent. And that was spent on business promotion. In fact, 2.5 million of that money was spent on rebranding. For the bank. And this was not the purpose for which the money was given by the central bank. It was just liquidity support to help you to stay afloat. And yet the bank spent the money in this manner. In spite of this, Daniel, we have one of the, obviously, the most respected banking consultant, Nanotu Echamba, who was on this station when the story is broken, when we're dealing with the report of the central bank. And he says that, of course, 7 of the 20 local banks have collapsed. There are 13 local banks left. These are indigenous banks. And he says that, look, the collapse of the 7 may create the impression that the local banks are feeble and they are unsustainable and they are not strong enough. He says, no, disabuse your minds of that perception. The remaining 13 local banks are solid, they are strong enough, and they can withstand any shocks. So he thinks that Ghanaians should continue to have confidence and faith in the local banks and should continue to do business with them, transact business with them so that you can help them to stay.
Malik, but you remember that when the first 2 banks collapsed, we were given to understand that the financial sector is now robust. That was the word they used, and that we do not expect any other occurrences like that. And then 5 came in.
And this is a deputy governor of the central bank, Elsie Awaji, who told us on this show that she was confident that the remaining banks were strong enough and that she didn't foresee any more closures, and that even Unibank, which had just been given to an administrator, that Unibank, they were sure that it would be steered off the troubles and it will stay on its feet.
In 6 months. 6 months down the line, we didn't see that kind of result happening anytime soon. But there's another interesting development. You know that the finance ministry in its statement after the collapse of the 5 banks, it stated categorically that it was going to support the other banks to be able to meet the minimum capital requirements and stay on their feet. So maybe the local banks will have the happiness that when finance ministry comes in, everything will be done.
Yeah, and still related to this, just yesterday in the 6 o'clock bulletin we discussed this story about Jata Cement, and Jata Cement they are 80% complete, and when it's done, they will be producing 2.6 million metric tons of cement. Of course, Jata Cement was also in the news as one of the institutions that took a loan from UT Bank and has not been able to pay. We heard the lawyer explaining, and we are talking about Randolph Chimesi, Raymond's friend, explaining that, look, the arrangement that they entered into with UT Bank was for the company to produce the cement, sell the cement, and then when it raises money, then it will pay back the loan. Except that the indebtedness of the related companies of Mr. Ibrahim Mahama go beyond what Jata Cement took, because it's 302 million we are talking about. And out of the 302 million, we know that Holman Brothers, we know that MBG, we know that Engineers and Planners itself, all of these companies took money in violation of the regulations of the central bank as far as single obligor limits are concerned. And that not related companies were supposed to be given this amount, but we know that they were given. So you have given explanation for Jata Cement. The company hasn't started producing yet, so is unable to pay. What of the other 3 companies, related companies that took loans from
They
UT
also
Bank?
did say that it's a matter of litigation.
Absolutely.
Even Jata Cement on its own is a matter of litigation.
Okay, so
clearly it is being disputed.
The dispute in this case is because they dragged them to court. Now, the receiver...
That is UT Bank dragged them to court.
Not UT Bank. The receiver that took over UT Bank.
Okay.
That's like the GCB.
Yes, they dragged them to court. And the claim in this case is that so far as they are concerned, these are the amount of monies that you owe us. This group, the groups in this case, Jata and Co., they are disputing the amount of monies involved in this case. So that's what before the court. It's an interesting development to see how they are going to resolve that matter. Since now it's not like the main UT is involved, but it's the receiver that's going to court on this
GCB
matter.
Bank,
You do recall that Siawaji also said that in the case of the other 5 banks, currently the 5 banks that recently collapsed, the receiver will go to court to retrieve monies from people. What I'm giving to understand is that if you owe a bank huge amounts of money, immediately
Mm-hmm.
it goes into receivership. You are supposed to make payments or go into terms with the receiver,
the new receiver
to make payments, even if you had 50 years to pay previously. Those arrangements will have to be rewarded because the receiver is virtually like new terms of engagement under the Act 930.
Yeah.
Okay, so Raymond, let's stay with this issue and look at the cost of this entire banking collapse.
Okay, so now, you like mentioning that, what they call it, amount, 8 billion, and it's true. Almost 8 billion is how much this republic is given to save, to make sure that the depositors' money is protected. In 2016, we had an act called the Deposit Protection Act, which mandated government to come in these cases to save it. We've had times past where there's been crisis like this and government could not come in, and women, including market women, have lost all that they worked for and all of that. But this time around, this 8 billion is to make sure that these banks run under the new consolidated bank structure. Now, the question that's being raised is, what's the cost of this? You have tried to give us some other simultaneous things we could use the 8 billion for if you wanted to do it. But the most important part is that you've heard the possible impact on the public debt. Almost 72.4%. And let's be clear, since this government came into power, it's kept the debt to GDP within the 60 range and not into the 70s.
Yeah, 69.
But the complaint here is that when the 8 billion comes on board, it's going to push it into that range. Even though for the IMF and the World Bank's engagement, they will not consider it because it's an emergency provision. For our debt to GDP, it's going to go up to 72%. When it goes up to 72%, that will not be the only problem we have on our hands. Now, the calculation that's been put to it is that almost your capital expenditure, the amount of money we'll use to build schools, the amount of money we use to build hospitals, is being consumed by this 8 billion. And that's how instructive and relevant the amount of money is in this case. Maybe that's another reason why we should go back.
So if, for instance, we had to choose between one and the other, we would have to choose banks over every school we would build, every road we would build, every hospital we would build over an entire year.
Yeah.
Remember the last time what I was putting out was that we have an average of $1.2 billion that we spend on infrastructure in a year. And 8 billion goes to about 2 billion.
Yes, of course.
$2 billion.
Yeah.
I found something interesting online. And this is actually an online story. Man jailed 12 years for stealing a mobile phone and 7 Ghana cedis.
You see, the Malays kind of crime, white-collar crime, I mean, not the one we're engaging. I mean, I'm saying that
which is
the ones you learn.
Which is exactly what I was coming in. Really,
he has to quickly put in the clarification before I issue a rate.
If a man, guys, this is very worrying. If a man steals 7 Ghana cedis and a mobile phone, this man is sentenced to jail for 12 years. When the actions of people lead to us losing 8 billion Ghana cedis, and it's documented in the Bank of Ghana reports that persons took out monies that's without putting any proper documentation on them in some cases. So after all of that, you find that here, these people are still like us. These people are still going out with us.
They are driving the flashes of cars.
We still find a loud silence in a certain section of society, which I don't understand. For instance, where is the parliamentary probe that was hinted of? Why hasn't Parliament as a body? I'm not talking about individual members of Parliament or minority spokespersons. No. Why hasn't the body corporate Parliament stood up to say we must look into it. We must ask questions.
No
about
votes
this.
are at stake.
No, but
so they won't take action.
To be fair, when the 2 billion first happened, in the case of UT and Capital, I remember both minority and majority on the finance committee. I remember the chairman of the finance committee said, no way, we can't put our monies into this. Go after the people involved, get money from them, sell their assets.
So what was the follow-up that they did? That this is this week marks a year since those 2.2 billion Ghana cedis were paid out. Another 5.3 has been added. We know that 1.47 billion went out before even this.
All of this conversation.
All of this, and that's just with 2 banks. We don't know about the other 5 banks. Okay. So the question here really is that these bodies that we are supposed to hear from. And last week I was talking about the Ghana Bar Association and civil society, so many think tanks that we have in the space. The Office of the President. This is the single largest expenditure line.
Daniel, in some other jurisdiction, by this time a parliamentary committee will be hauling the directors of the banks and
senators will be grilling
them, conducting their own investigations into the and to be public.
It's just disappointing. But 7 Ghana cedis, 12 years in prison.
Malik, well, let's deal with Asiedu Nketia. Yeah, Asiedu Nketia says he's coming back, and he wants to help the NDC to win the 2020 polls. He says that the NDC is in a very critical moment, and it needs tried and tested hands. You know that his deputy Kokwa Nyidu, who has also indicated his interest in running for the general secretary of the NDC, but the Asiedu Nketia says he's moving nowhere.
Okay.
He's running.
So all the best to both of them. Let's move online now. And the online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest, Goyle Good Energy, and download the Safe Doctor app now from the Google Play. Safe Doctor, the future of better medical care. Now, you've got great love for your vehicle. You want the engine to last longer and perform to its maximum. It's okay. Goyle has the new super synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubricants for you. These specially engineered superior engine oils work efficiently on all modern petrol and diesel engines. They clean, protect, reduce fuel consumption, prolong oil change intervals, and enhance engine performance from startup till you switch off. Go to any Goyle filling station and grab the new Goyle super synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Engineering innovation for your vehicle has arrived. Goyle Good Energy. Now, the Skills Development Fund invites all micro and small and medium enterprises across the country to apply for grant support to improve the capacity of their workforce for enhanced productivity and competitiveness. Public and private training institutions are also invited to apply for support to develop innovative training content for the private sector. The application window is open till 31st August 2018. Enterprises in agribusiness and renewable energy sectors and those owned or managed by women are especially encouraged to apply. To apply, visit sdfghana.org. Skills Development Fund, Skilling Ghana for Sustainable Development. Now is the time to own a Zenith MasterCard. Apply for a Zenith MasterCard debit or prepaid card from any Zenith Bank branch nationwide and enjoy 2 great things. No issuance fee and a chance to receive a gift of a prepaid card with a preloaded amount or the CD equivalent of $50. Isn't this exciting? Don't be left out. Sign up for your Zenith MasterCard debit or prepaid card today. Offer is available to account and non-account holders. Terms and conditions apply. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. Which one of you was reading the headline about Hajj, this year's Hajj being well organized? That was you,
my
Ray.
Very good self.
The first story here is chaos breaks out at Hajj village over flight delays.
The research is...
I just wanted you to know. Second Ghana infrastructure report card launched. Osafo for Lords project. And in the Brong-Ahafo region, 500,000 Ghana cedis of District Assembly Common Fund missing. Auditor General demands refund. Malik, you know the Public Accounts Committee is sitting today, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And the Auditor General is demanding a refund of 500,000 Ghana cedis. We wonder where the Public Accounts Committee is. Mr. James Avege's people. Good morning to all of them. Is what I should be saying. But it's nearly time for the BBC News at 7. Let's make way for that now. Remember, today we are asking the critical question of what does Men's Gold do? What are they authorized to do according to the agreement with government? How does it tally with what they do in the day-to-day? And also we'll be bringing you details of an audit report into the operations of the Royal Bank. What happened in those final hours, winding down to when they were collapsed? into Consolidated Bank. That's coming up on the Super Morning Show today. Don't go anywhere.
This was Kwame's Life before Interplast in